What's up, everybody? We're starting. What you see before you, hopefully, is not, well, I'm guessing it is potatoed a little bit, but some pencils. This is going to be for a cover for Dragon Guard. I'm looking at a couple of talented individuals for inks, or I might ink it myself, but I'm thinking of having somebody else ink the cover. So we're starting. Everybody's on their commute. If you're on your commute home, you can check it out. I'm sure the video will be posted later. But we're going to sit here and talk a little Dragon Guard, and I'm going to draw. And if you guys got any questions, you can shoot them at me during the live stream. Hopefully not too potato-y. See if we can get this going. Because we're looking. I don't know why my camera just decided to be difficult. But here's another close-up. I'd been jumping around working on some pages this week and wanted to jump back into the cover so I can wrap this up. I apologize for not streaming sooner. I know I'd notified people that it'd be around 4 or 4:30, and it didn't kind of work out the way I wanted it to. We've got a ton of rain here where I live, and it's actually going to start causing minor flooding, little flash flooding and stuff. So here we go. I'm working on grabbing some pencils here, if you can hear me. Working with a graph gear. So anyway, if you're new to the channel, new to my stuff, I'm Kevin Sharp. I've been in the industry for about 25 years, and worked for a bunch of different publishers: Marvel, DC, Dynamite Entertainment, Image, IDW, you named it, I've drawn for them. More than likely, anyway. Worked at a little company called CrossGen back at around the turn of the century. It's weird to say that, but 2000 to 2001. Was a staff artist along with Steve McNiven. You guys might know him from Old Man Logan and a few other things. I say that facetiously. Steve does a lot of stuff for Marvel. I also worked on Extreme X-Men: The Savage Land, and worked on that. It was a 4-issue miniseries. That was all me. Covers too. I got to draw the X-Men at the time, or at least the Extreme X-Men team, which was written by Chris Claremont. The miniseries was, as well as the main series. I believe Salvador LaRocca was drawing the main series, and it was really, really fun. It was one of my favorite gigs to work on. Another favorite gig of mine to work on was Nova for Marvel. I worked on 3 issues of that with a fellow by the name, of course, Bill Roseman. Bill Roseman was an editor for Marvel at the time. Right now, he's working in the video game department. I know he had moved over to the animation for a short time, and then I guess he moved over to the video game department, and he's now the head guy on the Avengers game that's coming out, the one that everybody seems to be panning. It looks good, but it looks a little off too, but everybody seems to be a little grumpy about the way that game looks, at least some of the character models. But Bill is a great guy, ultra nice. Tried to give me work when he could, and the issues of Nova that I drew were really, really fun. I believe there was a character. My arc had a character called I'm trying to remember the guy's name, but it was a pirate named Star Hunter or Starhawk, and I drew that for an arc. And let me see. Then from there, I did Capcom versus Marvel, the pack-in game, the game comic book that you got with it came with there was a collector's edition that had a steel case version, and it came with some extras and a comic, and I drew the comic that came with that, and it was really, really fun. One of my favorite experiences. Um, I had issue. I had drawn a Resident Evil comic for Wildstorm right before they were folded into DC, and my dealings with the Resident Evil people wasn't as fun as dealing with Capcom on the Capcom versus Marvel stuff. Um, completely two different experiences. And anyway, and I know I'm pretty sure I shared everything, so I'm hoping people will come in pretty soon. Anyway, um, try to get the camera oriented better so you guys can see the artwork. But if there's any questions, feel free to let me know. And like and share if you can. Anybody watching, like and share. Also, can everybody hear me okay? I'm going to boomer it up in here. Let's see. Just trying to make sure my audio is good. So, anyway. Let's see. Let's see if we can get a good look on here. So, right now we're working on the Dragon Guard cover. And Dragon Guard, to familiarize everybody with it, Dragon Guard is a fantasy book, fantasy comic that I'm doing for Indiegogo, and the premise is on a faraway planet, an ancient evil arises, and to combat that ancient evil, a group or order of mystic warriors are destined and honor bound to defend and protect the savior of the planet. And the savior of the planet is a humble son of a blacksmith. And there's far more to it, but the hard part about doing the elevator pitch for this is so much can be given away, and I don't want to give it all away for you guys. I want it to be fun, but another selling point about it is that I'm a huge fan of a lot of 80s cartoons, whether it's Thundercats, Visionaries. Gargoyles was in the 80s, but it was like right around the turn of the century, or it might have been like in 93, maybe 92. Anyway, a big fan of those type things. A lot of fantasy cartoons, other influences, a little bit of Battle Chasers, and this is one of those things where a lot of times I hadn't got a chance to really draw the things I love, the things I enjoy, or I never really got a crack at really showing what I'm, the fun I have with a lot of these pages. Sometimes you're hit with a deadline, and the hard deadlines, you don't have a lot of time to put your best work or your best foot forward. Sometimes it's more about how fast you can draw than how well you can or how cool. And a lot of the big guys, have a little bit more time to draw their pages and, flexible deadlines and stuff like that. Me, I'm kind of, for the longest time, a lot of it was filling in and doing things like that. A few books, like I had fun on Extreme X-Men. I was able to keep a really good schedule, and I had a lot of fun with that book. Especially getting to do the covers and Liquid, which was at the time a really big color house. I think those guys split up, but they would do phenomenal colors. I always colored a lot of Joe Mad stuff. They do just amazing stuff. They did. I think it was Christian Leitner and Aaron Luzin. Maybe I'm getting their names right. Let's see. Basically, it was one of those things I got a chance to draw a lot of cool things. And then, there's a few occasions where I had a little bit better deadlines and stuff. I was grateful for Nick Barucci at Dynamite. He gave me Army of Darkness. I had a lot of fun with that stuff. Um, just a lot of splashy fun stuff. Um, drawing Ash is always fun. Never have a problem with drawing Ash. Um, let me see what was trying to think of some other cool stuff. But anyway, going back to Dragon Guard. Dragon Guard is kind of the culmination of my kind of a love letter to those 80s cartoons, Thundercats, He-Man. I think there was even a Conan cartoon, I believe. But any of that stuff was just really fun. It was back when animation looked really good. It was well drawn. It was, it was like watching your favorite comic books on screen. It was fun. It was nice. It was what started me drawing, really taking drawing seriously. Got me kind of inspired, and there were occasions that there were occasions where my cousins and we were all roughly around the same ages, and we'd all hang out at each other's houses and sit around and just draw. We'd have these little drawing competitions, sort of like Drawn and Quartered. If you guys got a chance to see Drawn and Quartered, Drawn and Quartered is on Blacklist or Art of the Hero. I think look for Art of the Hero on YouTube. Mike Miller, his channel, and I am very fortunate to be a part of it and sit in with a group of guys, like how it used to. For me, it was like kind of how it used to be at CrossGen, where there's just late night guys sitting around BSing, trying to get our work done and having fun. And that was one of the things I really missed about being in a studio with people. And through the magic of technology, here I am, and I'm getting to have fun and meeting all these new people. And it really inspires me to get better. And that's what I wanted to do with Dragon Guard is give you, I know you've heard me say it before, but just give you the most kick-ass stuff I can. I mean, that just eye-popping stuff. The idea is just to try to get your attention. And then part of the idea is also, I know with parents and a lot of the Indiegogo stuff, we have a situation where a lot of the Indiegogo, the buyers are going to be the adults, the older people, older fans. And I want to branch out and get the attention of kids. I want kids to look at this stuff and go, cool, make them pick up a comic, maybe get them a little hooked on it, show them what we're capable of. And there's so much to fight with video games. And okay, cool. We got Snow Frost Witch in. Hey. Thank you for coming in. I appreciate it. Yeah, this is the cover. This is going to be one of the covers for Dragon Guard. And I had actually put it to the side earlier this week. I was trying to get back on pages because where I was sick last week, I missed a lot of work doing pages. So anyway, that's what you're seeing right here on screen. And I think I have a link in the description for Dragon Guard. For everybody out there listening to it, check out Indiegogo. There should be a link to take you right there for the pre-launch page. So that way you can find out what's going on with the book and when I launch. And also by getting on that early mailing list, you'll be the first ones. You'll be the early VIPs who will get a 10% discount on the book. And there might be some other incentives. I may go ahead. I think at this point, if I can get more people up here, I want to get close to 500. We're doing okay on the mailing list, but I'd like to see us do a lot better. But I'm thinking about doing a special print just for you guys, nobody else. It won't be one of those things where it'll end up at a con or something like that. It'll just be a special print that'll be for you guys. So thank you for being early VIP backers and getting on that mailing list. But yeah, I'm sitting here doing a cover, getting a little caught up. I have, well, while we're here and while we're on the subject of Dragon Guard, another bit of good news. Oh, hey, what's up? It's Mac and Cheese. What's going on? I tell you what, let me see Snow Frost Witch. I will try to see if my camera will work with me here, and let me put this up there close so you can see some of the details. My camera might be skewed a little funny. But let's see if it'll focus and get you in on a lot of that detail. And Snow Frost Witch, yeah, thank you. I really appreciate that. I thought you were, but I wasn't. I don't have the list in front of me, so I couldn't tell immediately. One of the things about the streaming, the live streaming, I know with a lot of guys when we do drawn and quartered or whatever, or I know watching Mike, I don't have a really powerful computer, so a lot of times I don't do a lot of surfing with other windows open while I'm doing the thing. So me putting links in or checking things while I'm doing a stream, I don't really have the capacity to do that just yet. And you know, I just like to get my sea legs on this stuff because the I'm a boomer. I'm boomering things left and right. So I need to get a groove, and I need to do this more. I realize. But there's the first cover. I plan on having a villains cover, and I might talk. Well, I think I might already talk to him, but the idea maybe to have Mike do a cover if I can afford him. And I love all my comics buds, and so it was one of those things where I'm funding a lot of this early stuff myself, like the colors, getting preview color pages done, and things like that. So it becomes an issue where I'm not wealthy enough to pay a lot of people right off the bat, and so getting my friends to do stuff, I'd love to have more people do more than what I can afford. But I just, like there's great guys. Like I love, you guys know I love Elliot. I love Matt Weldon, Matt Cosson. Shoot, if I can get a pinup with from Siege or somebody. Kanan White, I love his stuff. So many good people, and right now I just, I would feel bad asking for favors, and then I'd feel bad, not paying them what they really are worth. So the idea is at least get a maybe one other cover by Mike. I know there'll be a villains cover for this, and then there's going to be the exclusive print. So a lot of things in the irons in the fire that I'm thinking about when I launch. I have to have a really solid conversation with people and find out what I can make happen. I will say I have talked to a few other people, some famous inkers, and I have some friends that may come aboard to do some colors and inks, and just for one, a cover or two, or to do some of this extra stuff. I'm really happy with my buddy Alonzo Espinoza, who does my colors. He's hitting on some of the things that I'm looking for. I know a lot of people, the colors are a little saturated or bright or whatever you want to say. But that's kind of what I'm going for. I wanted something that recalls a little bit of the 90s type stuff. And also is eye-catching to kids. So I'm looking for a certain aesthetic to kind of grab the eye, even if, if it's a little intense or a little, what's the word? a little strong, then that's what I want. Um, anyway, I'm going to show this up against the camera again. And there'll be like kind of a dragon symbol up here. And I do have a logo guy and the letters, and I think I might have told you guys, but it's really fun because I'm starting to see in these weeks coming together for the book. I'm starting to see some more people that want to jump in and collaborate on the book, and that's really fun. That's the really big thing for me right now is some of this stuff. It seems like these things are falling into place a lot more effortlessly than I thought they would be. And I might have been stressing myself out too much about it. But the big thing is the mailing list. If I can get some kind of reach a larger audience, and I need to boost those numbers a bit. They're not bad, but I would really like to see it get around at least 500 or so. That's a goal anyway. And I know I need to get on and do maybe a little bit more live streaming. You guys know I'm not the best conversationalist. You can probably tell. So it's a big thing to jump out here and throw yourself out there into the big pond of YouTube. Because I'm a very private person. I don't like. I keep to myself. I like to, when I draw, a lot of times it's very quiet. It helps me. I don't like a lot of noise. I don't like it. Cons are a little bit different. I'm kind of used to that situation. I would think of it more of a con, like a con, but generally, I don't talk a lot. And so getting used to this, jumping this hurdle of YouTube. Mecha Machi says, do the variant covers the stretch goals. Yeah. That's on the plan. The stretch goals there's a couple of stretch goals I'm trying to look at. One major thing that I'll tell everybody who's listening is I really want to do it perfect bound. My model or the thing in my mind is back when they used to do graphic novels. When they did graphic novels in the late 80s, there was a lot of graphic novels that were perfect bound, and they were just awesome. I absolutely loved having those. I think Spawn versus Batman, I believe, was one of those. I remember something with a Wolverine saga or something that Rob Liefeld did the covers for, or did some of the covers for. I think those were perfect bound, and they were just beautiful. That's what I want to give to you guys, something really polished and really nice looking. I wanted the whole complete package to be really cool, something I can be proud of. And I tend to jump around sometimes. I tend to jump around with my page, and I work really hard to try to. I'll see something that bothers me, and I'll jump to that, and I'll see something that bothers me, and I'll jump to that. I'm not sure exactly why that is. But we got some really cool things going. I would name the people that I'm talking about, but right now, because I know they're working other projects, and I don't. They told me that they're not specifically contracted for it, so I won't. I don't want to, necessarily say anything that might get them in trouble, because if they are looking at more work from whatever employers, companies that they're working for, I don't want to necessarily do anything to jeopardize that. But behind the scenes, I'm talking to a couple of people. One of the people I really like to, I don't think, she just put it out there, but I'd love to get Sandra Hope to ink one of these covers because she's amazing. She's inked so many good people. Most recently, she inked Andy Kubert, one like a Superman project, and she inked. She's famous. She was inked a lot of people at Wildstorm. Every now and then, she inks Jim Lee when Scott Williams isn't. She's just fantastic. She's got a fantastic hand. Her approach, it looks really good. She makes a lot of people look good. Speaking of inkers, I want to just give a shout out to a friend of mine, not a close personal bud, but a very good dude regardless. He always makes time to hang out with me, to come talk to me at shows whenever we're there, and he's just a really good guy, and that's Dexter Vines. He's battling cancer, a specific, I don't know what specific blood cancer it is, but it was described as blood cancer, and he's just been recently diagnosed with that and battling that. So he was a good guy. He inked my issue of Man of Steel that I did. I think it was like 126, 124, something like that. And he's another one of those people that no matter who they give him, he can make somebody look really fantastic. One of my favorite people to talk to, one of my favorite people to work with. I'd always wanted to try to work with him some more. He's a good guy. So there's a GoFundMe for his cancer treatment. I don't have it immediately, but if you guys want to check that out, look around on Twitter, or maybe it's on GoFundMe. I mean, I'm not familiar with the site, but Dexter is one of the good guys in this industry, and I can't say enough nice things about the guy. He's always treated me really cool, and it kind of hit me hard when I heard that he had it. And while we're at it, I'll just kind of keep things interesting. I'll show you a close up of a page I was working on the other day. I'll show you. There's a close up of the pencils on a panel. Let's see if I can straighten that up. I got it leaning so it's in perspective almost. And that's a close up of the main hero. I just got to draw the sword and a couple other things. Sometimes when I have these pages that are kind of half done, a lot of times I'll have, like the other day, I had to take my daughter to the doctor's just to get her checked out and run around. There was some crazy business with our insurance and the dentist and stuff. And so, I'll have days where if I'm still running around with the kids, I try to get another page started, at least another page done, and go in and try to just keep something going. And I apologize for my ums. I'm trying to do. The hard part is trying to tell yourself not to do it and not think about it at the same time. Anyway, so does anybody have any questions on? What am I working out? Mecha McCheese, what are you working on right now? I am doing the cover, unless you're talking about something else, but I'm doing the cover for Dragon Guard, one of the covers for Dragon Guard. There'll be, oh God, it's potato. There we go. A little tightening up. This is one of the covers for Dragon Guard that I'll be doing. The idea is to have maybe a villains cover as well, and then if Mike has time, I might have Mike do another cover. I don't make them cheese. What can these dudes bench? Superhuman or normal? Um, well, this guy, a lot of it's since I'm basing it, a lot of it on magic and it's inspired by the '80s cartoons, so they're going to be kind of superhuman. I mean, just this dude knocked. Oh man, it's hard to explain. Well, this guy can lift boulders. My main character, Aetheron, which I'm still not sure about the name, so I'm still working on trying to get a name that rolls off the tongue. And the hard part is me pronouncing it because I've got to get dentures, so everything I'm saying is with a lisp, and it makes it harder to speak. I have to think about every syllable I say. But Aetheron is pretty superhuman. I mean, he throws boulders around and things like that. So the sword grants him a certain amount of magical powers. Um, I won't say too much though about what kind of magical powers, um, but definitely superhuman. He's definitely a beast. I grew up with He-Man and Lino, and then there's Conan and stuff. Will there be a Dragon Guard McCheese cover? Who knows? Maybe there'll be a. I don't know. I was looking at maybe doing a sketch cover, but that may be pie in the sky, and it might have to be a stretch goal, and we'll go with that. Um, if he were to throw it, would he lose his super strength? Now, Mecha, I can't say that because that would be giving away possible story plots, or plot points, story beats. So I won't say anything about that. I won't confirm or deny. And you'll notice me, for everybody coming in, you'll notice me moving around and jumping around. It's just sometimes when I'm having trouble getting my focus, I'll do that. I catch myself doing that all the time. So if you guys have any questions, Mecha McCheese has hit me with some good ones. But if there's anything you want to know or anything like that, I'll just hit me up. Tonight we'll be doing Drawn and Quartered, by the way. And that's going to be Punchline, which is Matthew Weldon's book that he's been doing for quite a while now, I think. And I know they had a campaign for one of the books, Super Frenemies, I believe it was. Had it just wrapped up on, was it Indiegogo or Kickstarter? But one of those. So tonight we'll be doing Punchline, and I'll have to get a little bit familiar with the characters and do a few doodles to try to figure out what I'm going to do. Right now, I'm just doing the Snake Man character in here in the book, or a humanoid snake character of some kind. Snake Man might be copyrighted, so I'll be careful about that. Let's see. Yes, Mecha McCheese. I'll tell you that one thing, because I don't like giving away stuff, but I'll tell you guys straight out. Is yes, minor spoiler. We get into the action pretty fast in the book. I kind of cut to the chase. There'll be more depth, and you'll understand it later. But as story beats goes, we'll get way into the action really fast, or at least fast by as far as I consider it anyway. Eye candy, I want to, giving people the eye candy, getting them invested into the story. If I can grab you early on in the book and hook you with the cool stuff, good. I'll give you my I guess the perfect example of what I wanted to do, at least as far as the model of how I would approach the story, is if you've read Pitt, and I know, we may get some people that are a little bit not used to or weren't around when Pitt and the other Image books hit. I'm a poet and I didn't even know it. Anyway, when Pitt hit, man, you go and read that book and it was just like 0 to 80. Dale was just blowing out double page spreads and huge splashy images, and he just grabs you right immediately from issue 1. There was like a ash can or some preview pages or some kind of setup stuff. I think they released that earlier in Wizard or something like that, where it was a little bit more story. There was a little bit of story to it. But when the issue 1 hit the stands and everybody was jazzed, and action-packed dragon guarding, sword swinging, muscle mania madness, Dragon Guard. Yeah, thank you, Roscoe Davis. All right, dude. Right on. But yeah, Pitt, when it hit, it was just like, this was cool stuff, and that's how Dale kind of got going. Was it slammed immediately. It grabbed you and just hit the ground running. We're full speed ahead, and I want something like that. I know you guys, different day, different age, and we want to get into storytelling a little bit more and focus on story, and that's cool. But I definitely want to give you that holy hell, what was that, kind of thing. I wanted people to go, did you check that out? And the hard part goes back to what I was having problems with earlier when I'm trying to promote the book, is that not give too much. I don't want to give too much away. I don't want you to see all the cool stuff that I plan on bringing out for the book, and then just be left with kind of, you've seen all the cool stuff, and now you're just left with the slower story points, and some people are more into that. But I definitely want to get kids' attention. I want it to be really, really, really just a treat for the eyes. And I kind of keep hammering that on, but that's what I want to do. I wanted to, I mean, there's not enough of it, I don't think, in comics today. The stuff that I've seen from Marvel, there isn't a whole lot of it. And then on the other end, there's some things, like, I don't know what the writing is on Avengers, but the story just doesn't do anything. But I'll see Ed McGuinness Avengers, and no matter what, I'll pick it up, just because I love Ed's stuff. And then I'll read it and I'll go, what the hell just happened? I don't even know what is going on in the story. And there'll be swaths of issues where you like that, and I want to find a middle ground for that. It's not easy. A lot of other people do it well. Mike does that well. So many other people do it well. It's refreshing to see men be strong. So tired of superpowered women being in everything. Yeah, well, mac and cheese. It's not it's not something I usually think about. It's like if I come up with a character, it's because I like this certain type of archetype. I liked Cara Dune in The Mandalorian. But I've always been I gravitate towards kind of the more athletic or the more stronger heroines. So but there's something to be said for eye candy too. And the male heroes are important. The male heroes, there's no soy in this. I won't be trashing men in this, and if you've picked up any of the good example is besides Pitt, the mini comics for uh, the He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, the toys, those were all just kind of simple action barbarian stories, and it's going to kind of be like that, So that's the tone I'm going for. It's kind of the model I'm going for. I want it to be fun. I wanted people that were fans of the old school He-Man stuff or the Thundercats and this and that picked up the toys. I want them to enjoy it. I want to get people to check it out and go, "Oh, that's cool," and then show it to their kids. I have a lot of people at cons that do that when I go to conventions. Met a lot of people and their kids. And that's what I want to bring to this. I really do think that one of the biggest stumbling blocks for the industry is not getting new readers. And a lot of those new readers have to be kids because they can't just be adults because we're all getting old. Let's see. Yeah, I got no problem with Superwomen, but it's oversaturated. Yeah. I can see it. Well, there's such an emphasis now. It's like it's one of those things. This whole feminism, gotta represent no matter what, and there's this. The real problem is you get these outsiders that never collected a comic book in their lives, and all of a sudden they're the arbiters of what's fair and what's just in comics, and they've never picked up a comic. They never were around for the 80s or early 90s when Marvel and everybody did have female characters in the forefront. I mean, 1986, 87, the Avengers were like Black Knight, Captain America, She-Hulk, Monica Rambeau, Captain Marvel, Dr. Druid. I don't even know what they've done with that character. It's like, have anybody even heard of that character since then? But anyway, they had a lineup, and they were always, there's always strong females in the forefront. It's just these people that come in and they go, "Oh, okay, well, you guys must be, you don't have this many characters or this many female characters and this and that," and it's so stupid. It's frustrating and it's dumb because you can tell the people that don't know their history or don't know, weren't around, weren't collecting, weren't really fans, and they're coming in and telling everybody, "Oh, you need to do this to be fair, or you need to do this to reach a quota or representation," and it's so stupid. So yeah, there's been overabundance, oversaturation in the industry of these people shifting gears and making sure that these characters are changed or whatever. Yeah. Dr. Druid is a Marvel character. I think I want to say he was like a telepath or something like that. And it was just this bald guy with a goatee. He looked like he could be somebody's dad. Um, you know, somebody with male pattern baldness, and he was on the Avengers, and he was called Dr. Druid, and he wore these long robes, and I can't remember. I used to collect that run for a little bit. It was that major run was, I think, drawn by John Buscema and inked by Tom Palmer, I want to say. But yeah, I mean, the main roster was She-Hulk, Captain Marvel, Captain America, Black Knight, and like Dr. Druid. I think that was all it was. And that was a pretty good run. I mean, there were advertisements all over the place for that roster at the time. Like, again, it was like 1986, 87. And, there's much more diversity in the older books than everybody gives it credit for. And it's really frustrating to see so many people getting upset that had no sense of history. And it just kind of, with a broad brush, said, "Oh, comics doesn't have enough of this or doesn't need this." And So yeah, there was overabundance of stuff like A Force. Was that really necessary? The sales seemed to me like it bore it out. That it wasn't. Excuse me, I was mouth's getting a little dry. But the sales seemed to have bore it out that nobody really wanted a Force comic. I think more people wanted it for Olivier Coipel's pencils than they wanted it for, uh, an all-female Avengers book. Um, at least that seemed to me that seemed the case. And I had a for the stream. Yeah, Mecha and Cheese. Yeah, even the popular stuff like the X-Men had a lot of diversity. Exactly. The book was. Oh, I could go on a rant right now. X-Men. Everybody makes it's the X-Men is this and that, and X-Men is always about social justice and this and that. I was like, man, the concept may have been um, something along those lines, but they didn't beat you over the head with it. Stan and Jack didn't beat you over the head with it. Chris and John Byrne didn't beat you over the head with it. You know, all those crossovers they were doing, they weren't about, social justice, this and that. Inferno, Mutant Massacre, I could go down the line. And, they still had diverse characters. The team got the new, when they had the all new X-Men, you had a Native American character, you had Storm, you had Banshee. Well, Banshee's white, but he's Irish. You had Nightcrawler. There's tons of people, and it just seemed to me that if anybody knew about or cared about the history, they wouldn't make the accusations that it's not diverse enough. It's just that there's a plenty of Marvel characters around, and you guys, you meaning the writers and creators that keep complaining about this, you guys won't take characters that could be good and you won't use those. You just rather go race swap or gender swap or whatever you want to say, Marvel characters or main characters. I'm sorry. The main characters, whether it's Captain America, Spider-Man, Hulk, go down the line. How many different characters are like Wolverine? How many different characters are like Deadpool now? Yep. Storm, Rogue, Jubilee, Jean Grey. Yep. So that's where we're at. I think it's just gotten to too heavy-handed, man. It turns people off. It turns an older reader like me off because I don't want to work. I don't want to buy a book by somebody that has an agenda, and you can tell it everywhere now, everywhere, and it's so overpowering. You can see it coming a mile away. And I won't get into it because I'm not looking for a war of words or anything with anybody, but I had to drop Hulk because of just the blatant race bashing, the SJW-isms of one of the main writer of the book and of Immortal Hulk. And it's not my cup of tea, man. I think Joe Bennett is a pretty good artist. Well, I mean, he's damn good, but his take on the Hulk's not really my cup of tea. But he does amazing stuff. But I can't put money into a book that insults me every time I pick it up. It's just not for me. I'd rather go elsewhere. I'd rather read. I'd rather read Avengers or, geez, Brett Booth on Bloodshot is kicking butt. as far as art goes. And Flash Forward, he's also drawing Flash Forward as well, which is the Wally West Flash. And that's a pretty good book. But there's so many books I dropped. I find myself gravitating towards, man, I really love, yeah, Immortal Hulk. Yeah, it did. It took a nosedive. It really did. And I mean, there's only so many times you can watch the Hulk. Oh, the Hulk's doing this. The Hulk's doing that. Fighting this guy. Fighting this guy. There's this story. Oh, look, the Hulk's been gutted by some acid or some goo, and now he's, disfigured and things like that. And it happens over and over. And I was just like, man, it's whatever the shock value is. It's just not my cup of tea right now. I love the Hulk, and the character right now reads more like a Solomon Grundy fanfic than it is the Hulk. That's just me. No slight, man. I mean, it's my take on it. It's not meant to insult anybody, but it's just what I gathered from it. And so there's a lot of books out here I've checked out. I know there's some great guys. I mean, Brett Booth is killing it on Bloodshot and Flash Forward. It's nice seeing people like that get some really good gigs. I'd like to see him get more good gigs. But my collecting is taking a kind of a nosedive just because of being insulted by a lot of books where I want to see. They don't get that it's escapism, and that's not to say you can't do books with a message, but once it's every month, every time you turn around, there's a pot shot, something taking a shot at whatever because you voted a certain way, or if you believe a certain thing, if you're a certain religious person, there's these little, read between the lines, kind of little pot shots taken at people, and people get away with it. It used to be not, if you did that stuff, you'd get canned immediately. But now it's just kind of like, hey, if you believe same things that the editors believe, you're fine. And it doesn't matter that you're representing a company and that you've got to try to appeal to everybody, not just one segment of buyers or readers. And man, I tell you, it drives me up the wall. And but I don't want to get. I'll try to stray from being negative. You guys didn't come on here for me to be negative. Well, anyway, we'll get back here to Dragon Guard. For those who've dropped in, and let's see, we got 4 people in here now. We did have 5. I'm hoping not a lot of people run, but anyway, we're talking about Dragon. You're looking at me drawing Dragon Guard, doing the cover for Dragon Guard. First of a couple of covers, I hope to have it out there for you guys. And if it's not, if there isn't a second cover, it'll definitely be a print. Grab another drink of water. So let's see. Anybody else want to check out, or anybody else got any questions? I hope there's a link. I thought I put it in there, but in the description. But there's a link for Indiegogo. Maybe I can't see it from where I'm running the station, but Mecha McCheese, is there possibly a link for Dragon Guard in the description? Maybe you can tell me. I'm sounding like Alec Baldwin when he tried his hand at Air America. I'm all over the place. It's not a good thing. All right, cool. Thank you, Mecha McCheese. And thank you, buddy, for coming in. It could be so much more boring. We got Snow Frost Witch. Thank you for being in. Tell you what, Mecha, I'm going to go ahead. Well, let's see. See if I can do it. Maybe I may have to do it after. There we go. Mecha Cheese, since you're a follower, I'm going to make you a mod. I don't think there's much to worry about right now as far as any problems with unruly people, but I'm going to make you a mod. Because you're coming in, you've been coming into the streams and then giving me somebody to talk to as well. So that's awesome. Yep, mod powers activate, baby. And so if anybody's out there and they feel they want to chime in, if you have any questions, I'm here drawing, and I will also take any art questions, any kind of drawing questions or advice, just to make it interesting. I am no Leonardo da Vinci, but I will try to help you guys any way I can. If you're interested in drawing information and tips, and you guys see me erasing a little bit. I'm still trying to decide how I approach, because there's always that segmented thing on snakes where the underbelly is segmented. I hope it kind of like this weird little, I don't know, it's hard to explain, but I'm trying to incorporate part of that in his body, his his physiology, his how we would draw the character and incorporate some of those snake elements, reptile, snake kind of deals. And this guy will frill up a little bit. That's his action feature. He frills up when he gets mad. Just in case I have the toys. If we ever do toys, his frills pop up when he gets mad. Oh, wow. Cool, man. Thank you, Mecha McCheese, for putting that up there. Dude, much appreciated. Got a wingman here to take care of all this stuff, so I can draw and talk. But the idea with this cover is just kind of something similar to the promo piece that I put out, the original promo piece you guys are probably all familiar with. And that's on the channel pick. It's kind of a Drew Struzan-esque montage collage. Not montage. Montages. I'm assuming, well, it's video. But a collage of different images. No, I'm not any Drew Struzan, and I'm not saying that, but you get that idea. That kind of epic Star Wars, Indiana Jones, whatever poster kind of feel from that. And here's my pseudo Thundercat-esque character. There'll be more of them, but this particular character, he's kind of this suave rapscallion, not unlike Jack Sparrow. It's probably a good idea to describe his character. Very fun, swashbuckling kind of ladies' man. Dare I say, Puss in Boots. Joshua Gillian, or Gilliland. Sorry for butchering your name, man. I apologize. He says, I'm not talking because I'm watching you draw this awesome cover. Thank you, buddy. Roscoe Davis, Pseudocat. Pseudocat. Maybe I'm getting it wrong. You can explain it to me in the chat. But yeah. Another issue I have to overcome is I've still got to get my glasses. I'm waiting on information from the optometrists that I went to, because they're supposed to be getting me a certain type of style of glasses. The ones I wear right now have been really durable and really held up. I mean, I've had some wireframe glasses that were titanium and they still bent. They would get knocked off and bend. And then what happens is when, if you don't have glasses, I'll explain it to you, but what happens is if the wireframe gets bent, it actually plays with your eyes and it gives you this real funky way of seeing things. It'll be always kind of this weird kind of dissonance in your vision where there's always like something is a little blurrier than the other lens. It's off kilter. It's really hard to explain if you never had glasses. And the ones I have now are perfect. I've had all kinds of accidents with them and they've stayed right in shape. They don't get misaligned or anything like that. And I'm waiting on getting some of those because they perform really well. But my vision has gotten a little worse over the years. Not as bad as I was told it would be. I was told originally that my cholesterol was really bad and that my eyesight was going to be to a point where I needed bifocals by now. And maybe I caught the diabetes, caught that I had diabetes fast enough and got treatment that it may have slowed that progression. And I'm hoping that's the case because it seems like in my latest checkup, it's slowed down considerably and I don't need bifocals right now, which is yay. And they told me that if I can lose some weight and get get my blood sugar down, that I might be able to reverse some of the damage. Not a good deal of it, but some of it. And that my vision would get a little stronger. Not to bring anything down, but just talking about glasses. Mac and cheese, does that affect your drawing at all? I wonder if it does. There are days where I'll wake up in the morning where my eyesight won't focus. Like I'll wake up and I'll go to sit at the table and I have to give it a few minutes, maybe even an hour, because I'll look at the page and it'll just go fuzzy. And then as I get kind of warmed up, my eyesight will straighten up and I can actually see things a little bit clearer. But, I have noticed a little bit of a decline when I sit and try to draw. I'll get eye strain maybe a little easier than I used to. But I mean, it's not gloom and doom. I mean, I can still do this and I think that's a pretty decent looking image. I won't say, the hottest thing since sliced bread, baby, but I won't say that, but I do okay for myself, I guess. And hopefully it'll help me get a little bit better. Part of the problem is, and honestly, just getting real about some of my problems about drawing is confidence. A lot of times, a lot of people are a lot more confident than I am. I'm always second guessing what I lay down and what I put down because I know that's my weaknesses and I'm trying to fix them. But being aware of your weaknesses, you still second guess yourself. And I try to improve those. I have sketchbooks. I do a lot of life drawing when I can. Haven't done a lot of it lately because the big thing now is I split my time between I split my time between drawing pages, inking pages. I have another book that I'm doing a little bit on here and there, also on the side. And then I have to do pieces. I have to make time for pieces that commissions and things like that to pay the bills. Because right now, if I was to just do Dragon Guard, I wouldn't have any money coming in. And my fiance works a full time job herself. So um, there's a balance there. Um, your art is awesome. Roscoe Davis says your art is awesome. If anything, you can always draw the muscles bigger. Thank you, brother. But I love muscular. I know I get a little ribbing from that from Mike and Edwin and a few other people about it, but it's just my thing. I grew up, me and my buds, like what had happened was we got into a lot of stuff like Transformers, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles when I first started drawing when I was a kid, you know, 10, 11, 12, and one of the things that happened was I was always drawing these heroes. So when I was drawing all these heroes, I gravitated late because a lot of these guys were big dudes. And I used to be a little bit into wrestling. My dad was more than I was. I got to watching wrestling because dad did. It was kind of just, when you're, 1983, 84, 85, 86, there's nothing around to do really. We didn't have money for like a video game system and things like that because those things were expensive back then. But, a lot of things, one of my favorite things, or one of my dad's favorite things was wrestling. So my favorite wrestlers were people like Sting or Hogan, or who I was a huge fan of was the Road Warriors, Legion of Doom. And, every time you saw them, they were like basically like superheroes because those dudes were jacked. They were huge guys. And they come in with the big shoulder pads with the spikes. They come to the ring. They got the face paint on. You can't help but like that. So that was all something that was influenced me too. And then I gravitated, me and one of my other cousins. I was trying to get fit because I was a chunky kid. I wasn't overtly portly, but I was on my way to becoming chunky. And it's always been a battle I've had since I was a kid. I used to work out, and what little weights and stuff that my folks could afford, I get access to. My cousin had a bunch of weights, so used to be into that. Used to be in the bodybuilding books. So the more I looked at superhero comics, the more I looked at bodybuilding, things like that. That my style just kind of gravitated towards drawing those characters, or drawing those body types. Excuse me, not characters, but body types. And so that was what's huge. That influenced me a great deal. Then later, my science teacher in high school, he was like, "Hey, you need to, if you like this stuff, you need to check out Leonardo da Vinci." And then he told me about why he thought Leonardo da Vinci might be a good influence on me. And so I read up on Leonardo da Vinci and how they used to take, well, obviously you didn't have anatomy books back then. So thank you, Mac McCheese. I used to look at these the books on Leonardo da Vinci, and they used to take cadavers and go through and the layers of flesh and the muscles and examine the muscles and things like that. So it was Leonardo da Vinci. His anatomy drawings were based on that, and just crazy stuff. And so I tried what I could to go from there. I think one of the major books I had big influence on me was How to Draw Comics the Marvel Way. The great thing about a lot of those books and some of my time with other people was the books talk about constructing figures with cubes and cylinders and stuff. Actually, I'll get a little piece of paper here and show you guys. But let me see if I can draw something that's dark enough for the camera. See, we're getting fuzzy now. Camera just went crazy. All right, there we go. And so, let me draw you. Okay, here's let's see. Here's roughly a side 3/4 drawing of the forearm, arm, upper arm, delts right here. Okay, just something simple. I don't want to get too elaborate. Just trying to. There's a wrist. All right. Well, you see this drawing, and the best thing to take away from um, how to draw comics the Marvel way, one of the best devices, the best art instructions that you could take away from it, and it's something that I'll tell you, when I first saw it, when I was first getting into drawing, being an uneducated kid who was just drawing pretty pictures, pretty superhero pictures, was that I didn't believe any of it was true. Is that one of the instructions in the book was constructing things, whether it's the body, cars, whatever, from cubes and cylinders. And what the effect of that, and I'll say this to anybody who's learning to draw, really, you want to see something, great improvement in your own drawing, is learn. I'm going to do this same arm with cubes and cylinders. So, and spheres and things like that. Geometric shapes. So constructing your figures and learning that as an exercise, learning to do that. There's your elbow area. And then learning to construct these things, learning how the forms are. And what I'm laying over top these cubes and cylinders is just a little grid, a circular, a three-dimensional grid around all these shapes so you can understand. And I'll go in with them. And then, here's the hand. You can say a cube for the fist. When you make a fist, you can say a cube, and then you got the thumb over here on the side. But generally, a cube type shape. And then you have geometric shapes. Making the cheese, the famous Da Vinci jumping jump. Da Vinci did that picture of the dude doing the jumping jacks with his junk hanging out. Yes. The Vitruvian Man, I believe, is what it's called. But anyway, as you can see, when I'm constructing this arm, if you do this in your sketchbook and learn to see things as shapes, I promise you'll see leaps and bounds improvement in your art. If you're trying to draw, understanding that there's cylinders and circles, there's your delt, there's your middle arm, part of your elbow area with a little very lightly drawn circle or sphere, and then down here you can do this as a cone for the forearm. But a lot of these things, once you start understanding the shapes, they'll help you get firm up your figures. A lot of times your figures might be a little doughy or a little misshapen and you can't figure out why. Try doing that. That's a good exercise. And fill your pages up. Go through your page and just fill this up with drawings. I mean, no matter what, just go through your page and fill it up and try to understand what you're drawing. And it's a good exercise, even for people that are a little further along, like myself. It's still something we come back to because we slip into bad habits. It's very helpful. Like if you're drawing a rib cage, a lot of times constructing, here's a shoulder, Here's a lot of times when my rough drawings, I'll start out. There's rib cage, shoulder, collarbone right across there. Um, I'll start out like this in my loose drawings, and a lot of it helps firm up some of your problems. And once you get in the mode of doing that, you'll see things better as a three-dimensional object. And it doesn't matter. I told you know a lot of people that everything is made of shapes. Start seeing them as shapes. Once you start seeing them as shapes, um, it'll it'll come naturally to you, and you'll start looking for those shapes. Um, and that's really important. It's really important for your development as an artist, because all these things are made easier by seeing them as shape. There's a joke, how do you eat an elephant? And it's one bite at a time, and that's pretty much how we're going here. Is a lot of it seems bigger or harder or um, just more monumentally tough to draw than it actually is. And part of that is because we don't break things down to simple shapes. And once we see things as simple shapes, like this figure right here, I've got the rib cage. This is from the side, so you got the rib cage right there. A lot of times a circle for your head. There we go. Anyway, it's just a good idea. But a lot of times we see things and they're a lot harder than what they actually are. If you break it down to simpler forms, you can start building it and you start understanding. And that will make your journey a lot easier. It may not seem that way. It may seem boring. I'll tell you, I did not believe in how to draw comics the Marvel way. It seemed boring at first. It's not. It's really easy. Or it may be boring, but it's definitely not difficult. Those two things are different. Sorry about that. But then once you know about applying shadows and things like that, then you can apply those shadows. Once you know your shapes, then you can understand where your shadows fall on these shapes. And then when your shadows fall on your shapes, then you can start understanding how to apply those shadows on a figure. Just a good idea. Roscoe Davis, man, this is tutorial gold. Thanks, buddy. Now I want to draw and get swole. Jawa Express, Snake Eyes. Yay! What's up, man? How you doing, Jawa Express? Cool. Got somebody else in. Sweet. But yeah, that's a lot of the things I tell younger people, because it really, for me, as a kid, I was just like, nah, there's no way John Buscema does that. There's no way that John Buscema builds all that stuff up. But he did that earlier on, and he knows about constructing the figures, and he got that knowledge from doing it over and over. You fill pages up, fill typing paper, fill pages of that stuff up with this, and you'll notice immediately a marked improvement on how your forms are getting better, how more solid they are. Pretty good. If you're not feeling well, maybe walk every day for an hour. You should feel better. Yes, sir. Absolutely. Always do the walking. Right now, today, feeling a little bit better. I just got a dry mouth. A lot of my medicines do that. But these are all kind of just little simple things I tell people at cons to help them, because the littlest things you think are nothing or kind of boring, those are the things that can help you and help you get better. Roscoe Davis says, do you get any of your covers and stuff that you draw for other projects like Lone Star that you can sign and sell? Are you talking, Roscoe Davis, are you talking about comp copies? Captain Hiltz, what's up, buddy? How you doing, man? Cool. Good to see you in here. Got two mods now, you and Meckham with Cheese. But I was telling him I'm pretty sure it's a pretty chill stream, so I'm hoping that there isn't a huge need for you guys to do a lot of modding. But let me see. Do you get Any of your covers? Yeah, I was going to say Roscoe Davis. Do you mean like comp copies, like free copies, or are you talking about the original art, the actual original covers? Do I get those back or anything? I will tell you that Marvel contacted me today about some of the artwork um, that was on. Hold on for a second. The Marvel Hero Project. I'll plug that while I'm here. If you have Disney Plus, I'm on. My artwork is on a couple of episodes of the uh, Marvel Hero Project. Captain Hiltz just got home a bit ago from work. Got your package, but I haven't opened it. Thanks. Oh, no problem, buddy. Thank you, man, and I appreciate your patience with me too, dude. Um, this whole Dragon Guard thing and trying to round up and get used to doing a lot more than what I do, other than just being a penciler, is a little bit more monumental than I realized, but it's not bad. But I was telling everybody earlier before you came in, before Captain Hiltz came in, and Jawa Express as well, that we got a logo guy, if you haven't heard. We also have a letterer, and now I have a few people that I've talked to about maybe doing inks on the cover. And I'll tell you what, since you guys just came in, I'm going to show the cover real quick, and then Roscoe, I will answer your question. But here's a cover I'm working on for Dragon Guard. Make up the cheese. Yeah, if you want to link to the Hero Project, it's on. The Hero Project is on Disney Plus, so I don't know if it'll work on linking it on here or not. But yeah, it was the Hero Project is on Disney Plus, and it was basically um, it's about a lot of really, trying to think of a really good word to describe it. But they're some are disabled kids that are trying to affect the world around them, or just special kids, any kids that are. Their stories about kids that are kind of heroes in another sense, and I did some of the project. There were two episodes. The first episode was a young girl who's a cheerleader, and then I don't know if it was the second episode or the third episode. It might have been the third episode. There's a character, or not a character, sorry. A young kid named Adonis Watt, who is a blind and is trying to play football, and it follows his journey. So it's the artwork for that. I have artwork in those episodes. So it's really freaky. So when Disney Plus launched, I was like, I get a email from my editor, and the editor says, "Hey, you're going to be on Disney Plus," and I'm like, "What?" They had never told me that over the course of the summer. They had a code name for the project, and then nothing specific about that. They just had a code name for it, and I went on through my day. Just it was another gig in some respects, because we didn't know what we knew now about the project and how it was going to be advertised and the exposure and stuff. But yeah, they contacted me about some of the art for that, because I still have some of the artwork from that assignment. I can't say too much, so I'll just leave it at that. I'll say that Marvel contacted me. But there you go. This is the cover. I'm working on wrapping it up this evening. You will see more of this female character. I wasn't happy with the initial design for her boots and stuff, so that's why I'm having problems. I'm waiting to get to her until I finished drawing the boots in the way that I like her boots to look. But generally, these characters are right here. A lot of the main characters you saw in the promo art. And anyway, but yeah, I was saying for everybody that just came in, I've got a couple of inkers that I'm looking at for doing covers, and I was maybe talking to a couple of artists. If the book does well enough with maybe stretch goals, come on, camera, focus. There you are. See if we can get in there really good. I don't know if it will or not. Try not to shake. Java Express, thank you, brother. I really appreciate that. Um, I hope if you guys can just share as much as you can. Send as many links as you can. Yeah, spatial. I wanted to be kind of stern. I wanted to kind of. It's hard because I wanted to have him have this kind of hard look. He has to be young. Oh, come on, camera. Work with me. Now it's not doing it. Give it a sec. Will it? Will it? Will it? No, it's being difficult. Well, anyway, I was trying to look for his, or I was trying to get to a point where he has a very stern look, but not too old, and it's a little bit of a struggle to try to figure out where I'm going to draw a stern look or that it doesn't look like he's bored. So if you dig that facial expression, then hopefully I've done my job. It's got to be kind of an intense stare, like how Arnold's Conan kind of had that intense stare. That's one of those things you're always fighting with when you're drawing it because you're trying to interpret and try to get that, communicate that, bring it across to everybody. But I'm really excited because I get to draw my stuff and I get to draw the things that I love to draw. I don't have to sit back and go, oh, okay, here's something I'm probably not going to be suited. Here's 10 pages of talking in a coffee shop. Some people do that. There's a lot of people that handle that stuff better than I can. So I like Matthew Weldon. If you look at some of his stuff, man, he could draw any kind of scene and give him these really cool angles. And I'm trying to be better about that. I'm trying. A lot of modern comic art. There's really good guys out here coming up that can handle those talk scenes and create these really cool angles and just handle them really well. And that's why I talk about Matthew Weldon, because I really like what he does. He's a really good storyteller. I want to be that good in terms of giving you interesting angles in a talk scene. A lot of times a talk scene is hard to make fun, and he really does a good job of it. One of the things I'm really impressed about his stuff. Java Express, he seems to be a cross between He-Man and Conan. There's some similarities. That's one of the hardest things is when I was creating this character, I was trying to think of the things that I really enjoy drawing. There was definitely a focus when I came up with this. I was toying around with this idea. I had been talking. I hadn't been on anybody's streams yet, but I had been in this chat with like people like Ethan and Mike. Don't worry, I won't get into too much about that. But Antonio Bryce saw my stuff and this that, and I knew that I had been questioned as like, hey, do you got anything? Do you want to be Comicsgate? Do you want to do this? And I didn't. I had ideas in my head, but I didn't have something firm. So I had to figure out I had to decide what kind of book would I draw, and would it be a space saga? Would it be superhero? Would it be, and I really, behind the scenes, non sequitur or whatever you want to say, I had been in contact a few times with people that had done or is responsible for a lot of art for the Mattel stuff, for the He-Man stuff, for a lot of packaging things. And I really got to be careful about what I say here. In terms of not getting in here and throwing a lot of shade at people, because me personally, I'm pretty pissed about it. But me and somebody had a falling out for a long time ago, and it was during a project that I did not screw up the deadline on. Hated that somebody was trying to imply that I was screwing up a deadline on. And we had gotten a big argument over the phone or either online in messages and emails, and it ended badly. So fast forward about 10 years later, and I decided I wanted to bury the hatchet with this person, and I had sent some things out, free artwork. I'd given the free artworks for a charity auction, and trying to make amends. And I thought the hatchet was buried, and we got along pretty fine. But it came up recently for a chance to have something to do associated with this stuff, with He-Man. Some of my favorite stuff. Some of my favorite stuff. Not to be all favorite of everything, but I do love He-Man and Masters of the Universe, that kind of stuff. It's fun. It's fun to draw. If you're an artist, that stuff is fun to draw. But the person threw our previous argument from damn near 17 years ago in my face and kind of implied I'd never be able to do He-Man, not while they were in charge of it. Or at least if you read between the lines, if you saw where they contacted me about doing it, and then you saw how quickly the conversation changed to, hey, we have an argument, and from so and so that's unsettled, and I thought it was settled. I mean, I treat people like I treat anything. You see me on the streams, I talk to people like Mike and everybody, and it's like that. So with that in mind, and not really happy about how that situation came about, that conversation came about, the things I love to draw, I'm not going to be, I guess, barred, or the things I love to draw, I'm not going to be blacklisted out or shoved out or pushed out. So the thing I wanted to do with this is just show you how I would do an awesome fantasy comic, and that's where I am. So, I know it's a little long-winded, and I apologize, but it's basically based around kind of people treating me like an asshole, and then, I just finally said, I'm going to do it my way, And so when the opportunity came up and people were asking me, I knew I wanted to do something like that, something inspired by all that cool stuff. And, I hope you guys get that. I'm trying to give you the best looking stuff I can, And yeah, Roscoe Davis, I love artists getting to do their own thing, makes it good. Yeah, it's scary. Yeah, thank you, Jawa Express. I appreciate it, buddy. Yeah, it's one of those things where I can be stubborn about certain things. If I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to try to do it, and I'm going to try to make it happen, regardless of the obstacles. And Lord, I'm trying to figure out how to word this, because I tend to ramble on a little bit, but the easiest way to say it is when I was in the hospital a couple of years ago for when I was diagnosed with diabetes, and it was kind of a bad situation. I mean, and my blood pressure had spiked through the roof, and my blood sugar was off the charts. It was crazy. I was really messed up when this happened, and I was in the hospital. When I look at that, I say I've kind of hit this thing where I've only got a short amount of time on Earth. It kind of makes you think, you get a short amount of time on this Earth to do stuff, and if I'm not doing something cool, I just said to myself, if I'm not doing something that I enjoy, and try to show people my best work, then what the hell am I doing this for? And so that's where we are with this. I want to just kick ass. I want you guys to go, oh man, it's so cool. I go back to Pitt because I loved when Pitt came out. I loved when Wildcats was out. I loved all that stuff. I wasn't maybe as big into Cyberforce. I wasn't as big into Spawn. I did pick it up though. I definitely was not a fan of Youngblood. Shadowhawk I wasn't a fan of. But the big Image book that hit me was Pitt, and how it was received, and how it just kind of hit you in the face. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what I told too. Yeah. I have coaches that do group fitness and seen everyday people who were overweight and lost it and reversed things like diabetes. Oh yeah, real quick. since I have you here, Java Express, real quick, uh, as I understand it, you're in Australia. Maybe I shouldn't say anything. Um, I'll shut my mouth because I just realized it's like, hey, if I don't watch it, I'll end up doxing somebody. So that I'm shutting up. I'll ask you. I'll ask you in a chat or something like that later on Twitter. Real quick question. Um, but anyway, okay, cool. Well, I don't know how to ask this without. I tell you what, I'll ask you in the. I'll ask you on Twitter just to make sure. Um, uh, just to make sure. Um, I just had a concern about shipping your package. I just had some concerns about shipping your package. It was something. It just basically was a question about the fires that you guys got there. I didn't know how whether or not the mail or anything like that is affected by that. Uh, I know it sounds like a dumb question, but I'm always trying to think about the best way to ship things to people. Um, anyway, let's see. Roscoe Davis, dude, Mike sent out an update. We can get prints of the Lone Star covers now. I was wanting a sharp cover, but I didn't really need another copy of the book. Oh, cool. So Mike is actually doing prints of it. All right, cool. And is that for all the covers? If it is, then yeah, you can definitely get one of my covers then. Sweet, man. That's cool. I did not know about that. That's a new one. I know I'm supposed to, I talked to Mike, and I know in a couple of things that I think there are at least a couple of the sketch cards that I'll be doing for him. So I'm waiting to get those. But yeah, those were, oh, Roscoe, yes, for all the covers. Sweet, sweet. I did not know about it, but now I know about it now. Thank you, buddy. Um, yeah, I have coaches that do group fitness. I've seen everyday people who are overweight and lost it and reverse things like diabetes. Yeah, certain type 2 is reversible. Type 1 isn't, if I understand what I was told and stuff. So yeah, I got type 2, so we will work on that. Yeah. Java Express, no, the fires are okay. I'm not affected by them. I just received Doug's Earthworm Gym pages as well as artwork. Same with gifts. Okay, cool, cool. So I will definitely send it out. I was just worried. The reason I hadn't sent it yet, I had gotten a little swamped with the pages, but I also was worried about the fires. Basically, I didn't know whether or not I didn't want to take a chance where the mail would be indefinitely delayed or something because of it, or in certain areas and stuff. I didn't know if it, the delivery. I know over here there can be some delivery um, delays and things like that for bad weather and other stuff. So I just wanted to make sure. It seemed like it was obviously pretty severe. So all right, so I'll definitely get that out to you. All right, sweet man. I ordered a new batch of Mylar, so people waiting on artwork. I definitely am. There's a few. There's like a couple other people waiting on artwork that I can think of, and I just got a new order of Mylars come in. They should be waiting for me here, or they should be delivered tomorrow, judging by my tracking. So anybody waiting on artwork, we're rolling. And let me see. While everybody's here, Java, and let me see who else. Captain Hiltz. Here's a close up one of the pages. I showed a little bit of this the other day, but I wanted to just throw it up on the screen, that you get a nice close up of that face. I had a lot of fun with that. Alrighty. And let's see. It's not as fun, but I'll show you one other page. Not as fun. I'm almost done with this. I was trying to figure out the storytelling. I ran into a little not a hiccup, but it's something where I was just trying to figure out the storytelling on this top part. Um, but I'll show you another villain in the story. This is for sort of like chapter 2. the book will be split up. I was planning on separating it into chapters. Like 20 pages will be a chapter, and then another 20 pages will be a chapter, and this and that. But I'll show you a piece. Roscoe Davis, same here. Mecha Cheese. Dragon Guard will be my first fantasy book. The art won me. Oh, thank you, dude. Thank you for giving it a try. Like I've been saying before, I grew up on a lot of the He-Man books. So the mini comics, I loved a lot. That's what got me into it. There's an artist named, if you get a chance to look him up, his name is Alfredo Alcala. And if you see his stuff, Alfredo Alcala, he's a big influence on my stuff in terms of how he handled the figures and things. If you go look at that, it's amazing. For the time period, those mini comics that came with the toys were amazing. And all right, Captain Hilt says, do storyboard off a script, then do roughs page by page. Yeah. What I do, the way I'm writing it, not a lot of people are familiar with it. I'm doing it kind of the old the Stan Lee marbled script way, which nowadays in modern comics, the general template or general approach to it is you would write it, panel, I'll go through it with you, like panel 1, out of the skull is a ooze, a lava ooze, emanates from the bottom of the skull. Panel 2, the lava starts to take form, rises, blah, blah, blah. Panel 3, and it's very detailed, usually very detailed about what you want to do. Stan Lee used to actually write in what they call the Marvel format, which was he would basically write a paragraph, 2 paragraphs. Yeah. Java Express, isn't that the DC way? Yeah. Mostly everybody has kind of switched over to that. Even your Marvel scripts are like that. But it used to be that Stan Lee would send Jack Kirby and other artists a paragraph or 2 paragraphs of the plot points that he wanted in the book. And then he would just hand it to the artist, and the artist would draw from that, and just draw, they would make up the pacing, they would make up this and that. And that's how I'm working on it. I basically will, for a page, I have a general overview of the book. Then I have basically the Marvel script of doing a page with a paragraph of what I wanted to see in that page. And then what I'll do is I'll draw small comic size layouts, blow those up, and then I'll trace it off. It sounds more elaborate. Once you get into a mode of doing it, it's a lot faster than it sounds. But I'd had a couple of days where I had just got, day-to-day stuff with family and the kids and paying bills, running errands, this and that, where I got interrupted. So there's a couple of pages I need to finish the pencils on, but I had a little problem fixing the pacing of what happens here. Basically, all you're seeing is this dude there's a skull, and he starts forming out of the lava, and then finally you have your big shot where he's fully formed. And so you get this. And that's way too much spoiler, but I figured I'd give you a little insight into the process of how I'm doing it. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, we're going to have to go through and script it when the book's done, or a certain batch of pages, and we'll go through and script everything of what they're going to say. That's how the Marvel way of doing it was. After the artist did it, Stan would actually go back and do the writing, because I honestly, I've done so many pages and I've done so much work for different people. I do not understand how to write in that script format of panel 1, panel 2. I don't know how to make that work. I haven't been I've never actually sat down and written a script in that format. So it'll be my first time actually scripting it, and I'll have people to bounce ideas off of. And obviously I'll send friends copies of it and say, hey, does this completely suck? How's the scripting here? What is this like? Okay. And where I'm at, it's 7:16 on the East Coast. So I'll probably wrap this up here in just a little bit. We'll say 7:30 just for everybody. We'll say 7:30. We'll wrap this up because I'm going to be on Drawn and Quarter tonight. The subject is Punchline, Matthew Weldon's book with Bill Williams. I hope I got the right name. Who's the writer creator? But we're going to be doing that book. If you're not familiar with it, check out, look around. Matthew Weldon's a great artist, great storyteller. And hopefully the pages look okay. Is the camera looking good for you guys? Is it still holding up? On my end, it's looking good. Java Express Weldon's Brando Origins looks good. Yeah, Mike was sharing pages, man. They're so good. Again, so much to learn from just looking at Matt's stuff too, man. It just is always picking these really nice angles for his storytelling, and it's just his storytelling is a treat to look at. It really is. And there you go. So anyway, there's that page. And the only other thing I'm going to share you is I try to devote at least a day every week, a day or two to inking. So I'm inking another story page that will be going to the colorist. And I have a page of colors back from the colorist again. In case many of you don't know, as many of you guys may know, I'm paying for my colorist out of pocket, and he's doing just a fantastic job. But I can only get maybe a page a week colored, just because I don't have a lot of extra cash with kids and all this other stuff. But I try to at least get one page a week inked for Alonzo. So we're going to have looking at between 8 to 10 colored pages to show up on the website when we launch. And I know people like Jeremiah Jones had asked about seeing the female characters, and you will see that too. You'll see a lot of the environments and things like that. I just happen to I'd pick pages that were easy to start off with colors and drawing and things like that because I wanted to jump right into it. But anyway, there's just some of the inks anyway. It's not all there. Part of it is because I'm light boxing it. And I don't know if you can tell from the camera. It may not be good enough, but you can see the scribbles, the 11 by 17 page attached to the back. And anyway. And so everybody, if you can, check out Dragon Guard. Anybody watching, lurking, checking out the stream, share. Share it on Twitter, Facebook, wherever you can, Instagram. My handle is KevHulk73 on Instagram, also KevHulk73 on Twitter. In the description is a link to the Dragon Guard sign up, the pre-launch sign up. And if you get on there, you'll get a 10% discount. Plus, I need to finalize what I'm going to do. But the plan is maybe getting you guys a free print that'll go along with your order. That will be exclusive to the early backers. so that you guys have something you can say, nah, yeah, 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 I got this. Because I think I should reward you guys for being so great and trying to promote the book. And we just need as many people we can for the sign up. It'll be a good start then. Um, it was crazy. I was listening to Mike talk to Quinn, and Quinn's got like several thousand or something, or at least over 1,000, 2,000, something like that. And I'm like, holy cow. So if we can get something good, if I can get up to 5, we're doing good, but I want to be up around 500, at least feel like I'm going to get somewhere. Getting 500 subscribers. But anyway, I want to thank you guys. I think I'm going to be shutting it down here so I can get ready for drawn and quartered. But before I go, is there any other questions from you guys you want to know? Any cool stuff? Comics Legend. Oh, cool. Hey, Comics Legend. Thank you for being in. When you draw the anatomy, when you draw, do you draw the anatomy from memory, or do you still need to look at anatomy books for different poses? Honestly, Comics Legend, I had done so much of it. I can do, I'm making the cheese. Comics Legend, yeah, the anatomy and stuff. A lot of this I learned the major muscle groups and the striations, or not striations. What I'm talking about, major muscle groups and how the body functions. I learned that stuff from studying when I was a kid. A bunch of different bodybuilding books, things like that. I would draw from that. Nowadays, I wouldn't encourage people to draw from bodybuilding books as much as I would from maybe UFC and wrestling photos, just because it's the body in motion and it's the body in movement, and that you understand what's going on there better than somebody stiffly posed, if you get what I'm saying. But a lot of the anatomy I did study. I'd go through and, when you draw, let me see if I can do this. Bear with me just for a second. This will be my last part of the drawing stream. I'll get you a little picking up the texture. Let me flip this up. Oh, there we go. That's the problem. Anyway, when you draw, let's say it's a shoulder, a delt muscle. I had done it so much that I understand the relationships. Like, here's your collarbone. There's the middle where it meets the middle of the rib cage. And then, like with the delts, your shoulder, delts are your shoulder muscles for everybody out there. Generally, we start with a circle as a basic shape, but those muscles, when you get to refining it, here's your contact point where they all sit around on your shoulder, and they radiate from being attached to this point right here, then to roughly the middle of the arm. Just I'm making a generality for you guys to understand it. But all these muscles, where they attach right here at the thing, they radiate out from that shoulder. And then they sometimes, since it's delts, I think it's 4 heads. I'm trying to remember. But I learned a lot of these things as kind of basic, where if you do it enough, it'll become, instantaneous knowledge. You'll be comfortable with it once you learn these. And really, I filled sketchbooks up with drawing and understanding. So I would always draw these muscle groups, practice drawing these muscle groups over and over, drill myself, do drills. Like, all right, I'll lightly draw, here's your bone, here's your elbow, roughly. The bicep it's called a bicep. It looks like one muscle mostly in the front of your arm. This is the front of your arm. Your delts attached right here. Then in front of your arm, the bicep actually has 2 what they call heads, or major sections of muscle. That's why they're called biceps. Even though visually, when you look at somebody's arm, if you look at the bicep muscle, it all looks like one piece, one solid section. So that's what they call muscle groups whenever they're solid sections. So you have basically, there you go. You've got the muscle striations, but they create a group like your pecs or your chest muscles attach near your armpit, and they attach right here across the rib cage. So all your striations, all your muscles attach and then pull to that armpit, right around your armpit area. And they attach there. They actually, when they attach just under the delts, and it's what creates the armpit. When you raise your arm and stuff, it creates a little fold of muscle and skin that creates your armpit. And they attach right here and they fan out. If you were to approach it like that, they fan out. The muscles fan out to that thing. So when you raise your arm, these muscles pull with it. When you raise your arm up, let's see, I'll draw this real quick. Go here. You raise your arm up, those muscles go with it. There's your bicep right here. Okay. There's the back of your tricep right here. You raise your arm, and here's the point where it creates, the part where the pecs attach near the bicep and delt that creates your armpit right here. Okay. And then directly behind it is your scapula, the shoulder blades that get pulled. Then there's your rib cage. The muscles that sit over top the rib cage as a generality, is called the serratus. They're muscles that layer over top your rib cage. But basically, again, since they radiate out like that, they attach to the middle, attach over top the rib cage, and they create kind of this shape right here. So I practice that. Comics Legend, thanks for the demo. Oh yeah, thank you. And I practice that every day, or not every day, but I used to practice that all the time. I used to do it, fill up sketchbooks, and that's what I recommend. Is you can learn it from anatomy, like basic medical anatomy books. Then you can look at bodybuilders and see how that works in a aesthetic like superheroes. But the bodybuilding stuff had a negative effect on some of my stuff. It made it a little stiff. And I talked to George Perez one time, and he said he looked more at wrestlers, because basically wrestlers are pretty cut. You see a lot of wrestlers that are jacked, pretty cut, and you can see their body in motion, and you can, if you draw from that. And now MMA fighters, those dudes are shredded, so you see the body in motion when they're fighting and things like that, and you can get a better sense of it. So the best thing I can tell anybody is, if you really want to get in there and really understand it and do sketches of things that are fun, try doing MMA picks and things like that, because it will be much more fun, much more entertaining to draw, and you will eventually get an understanding of the movement of the body better than just a stiff pose, a stiff workout pose, or a stiff, bodybuilder on the stage at like the Arnold Classic or something. You'll get more out of it. Your mind will process the motion better. And it's something I wish I had pictures of, something I had when I was coming up, but I didn't have as much. And that's pretty much it. So guys, if you have any other questions before I go, let me know. I'll give you a couple of seconds here. And I want to thank y'all for checking out Dragon Guard. I hope you tell everybody, share when you can. I'll do another live stream. Sorry, last week I was supposed to do a live stream, then we got hit with my kids brought home the stomach flu, and then everybody, if you have kids, that eventually they're sick, you're going to be sick too. It's going to happen. So I got hit pretty hard, so I didn't do any live streams. Mecca McCheese, thank you, buddy. Thank you for checking it out. Captain Hiltz, thank you for keep posting those links, buddy. Really appreciate it. Comics Legend, Roscoe Davis, everybody, anybody who might be lurking, thank you. And let me see, Java Express, thank you, buddy. And let me see, who else am I forgetting? I think it was Snow Frostwitch. I want to thank you, and Joshua Gillian. If you're watching, thank you, buddy. And if I'm pronouncing your name wrong, I'm sorry. It's Joshua Jalilian. Okay. Guys, thank you so much for being part of the stream. I hope it didn't boomer it up too bad for you. And I apologize for the case of the ums. And yes, I will definitely pimp Dragon Guard through D&Q and Captain Hiltz. Thank you. I hope you do throw up the link. I know it would be with D&Q tonight. It's going to be about Matthew Weldon, but if you can sneak a few links there, I'd appreciate it. Because we want to support Weldon too, because Weldon's awesome, and I'm happy to be part of this community. Thank you, guys. So I'm going to call it quits, and I hope to see you again. I'll try to make it a little bit more frequent. If I can do another stream this week, I will, and I'll try to alert you guys a little bit better. So peace, and I hope you guys have an awesome evening. See you on D&Q. Bye.